So now it's coming up. There it goes.
Okay, so we are streaming now. It went on and then went off for some odd reason. Probably YouTube didn't like something. All right, so hi everyone. We are once again streaming live on YouTube. And we've got with us Bob Dinkins. He is right here.
Hello.
And we are going to start our show recording in about a moment. So Bob, like I said, I'm going to be on this shot here. And then we will be running the intro after the quick introduction, and I will introduce you.
Sounds good.
So I will get going in 3, 2, and 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lectora Live, your inside track into Lectora. Here we go. And we are back. Welcome, everybody. Today we've got with us Bob Dinkins. He is an e-learning developer, a video guy. He does marketing, presentations, graphics design. He is a man of many skills. Bob Dinkins, how are you today, Bob?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Rick?
I am doing great. Glad you could join us and share with some of the things you do. Now your website is, why don't we show his website? It is humandynamics.com, hdynamics.com.
hdynamics.com, right.
So we are looking at that right now. Now, you do a lot of different things. You are pretty much a well-rounded guy. You've been doing everything from e-learning to video to audio presentations. It sounds like you like the multimedia part of it.
I really do. Yes, I find it really fascinating to just and interesting to do a lot of different things with not just create software all the time, but edit video and shoot video and do audio. And when I'm not doing that, I do woodworking. Interesting.
Well, that's the relaxing therapy stuff, right?
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
After all the e-learning multimedias, I need some therapy, quick.
Right.
Well, we were talking a little bit pre-show, and Bob's been around for over 20 years doing this and having a good time. We've worked on the same old authoring tools, and we've both found Lectora at different times, but it's been, I mean, for me, it's been a very great tool, and it sounds like you enjoy using it a lot too. And you're also on the Lectora Advisory Board, so welcome to that. It's good having people like you on there.
Yeah, the advisory board's been new to me, but I've really enjoyed it and getting other people's opinions on it.
Yeah, we're new too. We just started last December, I think.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun going into the meetings and stuff and going through features, and it was actually a lot of fun. So Bob, in your e-learning, it sounds like you work with a lot of different kinds of clients and do all sorts of different e-learning. I know you've got some good videos on your website of things that you've done, like video scenarios and stuff. And do you incorporate a lot of the media into your training?
You say, do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to. It's just more interesting, of course, as you know, to get to have some video in and have some audio, and so I try to get a little bit of everything in there I can if the client wants that.
Yeah, and it's not always easy to get them to buy off on more content. They keep thinking it's going to kill our bandwidth. It really doesn't. Not if it's compressed well and everything else.
Not anymore. It used to.
In the old days. Yeah. I remember when we started with Authorware way back when, we were doing, in those days, a full screen, which was 1024 by 768. We didn't have white screens yet, so this is all 4:3 aspect ratio.
Right.
And we were doing full screen with audio. They had a plugin called Voxware. Remember Voxware?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember what it was.
It's still used out there, but not really much in e-learning anymore. Voxware took audio files that were, anywhere from, let's say, 30 to 100 megabytes, and it made them like one 8K, 5K, 6K. It was amazing, and it sounded almost human, which was good too. It wasn't too bad. So you could do web-based training back then in the mid-90s, where the web was just coming up. There wasn't much of it. A lot of what we were doing was still floppies and DVDs,
Right.
Or CDs, actually, not
CDs,
even DVDs.
yes, CDs.
CDs.
I remember the first
Mm-hmm.
recordable CDs were like $25 a piece,
I know.
and you had to go through about 4 of them to get one of them that would actually write.
That's true. Yeah, the good old days. I was joking. I was telling Clark, who's running the part of the show over here, that in the old days we used to have these CD drives that would like,
Right.
like, what the heck is that? It's turbo boosted. Wow. And it could write like 3-speed. It was really cool. Yeah, but of course, I still remember my first PC. 2 floppies.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't even have 120. I think it had 128K of memory.
Of memory, right.
Of memory. And it was like, wow, man, I just paid $3,200 for this. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And then I got my first compact, which was like a big sewing machine box. And it weighed 30-something pounds. It was called a portable. It was transportable. It wasn't necessarily portable.
Right.
You know, your shoulder would kind of go off, and it was a good 30 or 38 pounds. It was not light. And it had a 9-inch oscilloscope screen. It was a green screen, and that's where screen savers came out, because if you didn't actually keep it moving, it would burn into the image.
Right.
I remember those days. Those were fun. And now people still use screen savers, but you don't need to. Your monitors will not burn in ever. Just a different technology. But back then they were green, and they had a little cathode ray tube that would just write to the screen, and unless you wiped those pixels clean, it would actually burn in after a while. It was
Oh, yeah, I
you would
remember
see
those.
ghosting. It was fun. It was I had a couple that had ghosting. It wasn't good. You couldn't do screenshots with stuff like that. It just would. What's that ghost? Oh, it's nothing. It just haunts my machine.
You know, one of the memories that I talked about with several people is that one of the first conferences I went to when CD-ROM first came out, and the CD players were great big things that you would have to attach to the bottom of your laptop. That was also a great big thing.
Yeah.
But I was at a safety conference in San Diego, and we had a video playing on the laptop. And all these people came up to us and said, "Is that CD-ROM?" And for the first few, we'd say, "Well, this is a CD-ROM player, but this is running off the hard drive."
Yeah.
And they just kind of walk away and go, "Oh." So pretty soon they'd come up, "Is that CD-ROM?" We go, "Yeah." And then we got a lot of people around the booth.
Is that funny?
Because they'd never seen video on a laptop before.
Yeah, that's so funny. It's like, wow, really? You can do that?
Yeah.
Those are fun days. I mean, it's kind of pioneer days right now. I look back on it now and go, wow, things have changed. I started out in '72 in school with my very first computer class, and we didn't have monitors. We had teletype machines, and it had big boxes of paper behind, and they would just print. Yeah. And you would code on that print. It was really interesting, and you could do interactive stuff with that, but it was on paper. You had no choice. And then they had the first monitors came out shortly after that. They were about, I don't know, 2.5 feet deep. People look at this stuff now and go, and it's kind of big, isn't it? No, you don't know what big is.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how lucky we are. And no heat. I'm convinced that, it's probably radiated our brains from those old cathode rays. It's like, they were really hot, too.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
So
you had to have a pretty substantial desk to hold them.
You did. And I remember we even had those arms that could hold those monitors, and they had to hold 100 pounds, literally. The monitors were almost 50 pounds, some of them.
Right.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So we have come a long way, and so has Lectora, actually. I remember when I first started with Lectora, it was already pretty mature. That was, I think, version 5 or 6. Yeah. And since then, boy, it keeps changing, and 16 is out now.
Yes.
I think John did something interesting. I'm surprised, John Blackman, he didn't do something like go from version 12 to 20.
I noticed that. I wondered about that. I didn't ask in the advisory board meetings why they did that. But.
No, I'm not sure either, because he went into the teen years, the worst part of the teen years, 16. He could have skipped that whole thing, gone to 20. Life would have been good. But
Yes. I wonder if they were trying to do
the date.
that it's 2016. I don't know.
That's kind of what it felt like, because when we jumped from 12 to 16, and I was thinking, wait a minute, did I miss something? I must have missed 4 versions. What did that happen?
Right. Yeah.
And the 16 is a pretty good version. They really cleaned up some of the small stuff that was new or not quite working right in 12. 12 was a major rewrite. There was a lot of work they did.
Absolutely.
And 16 with the responsive learning and stuff, that was another major addition, but they cleaned up just so much of what was in there. And I find 16 pretty stable. It works well from what we've done so far. It's pretty good.
I do too. I remember when, it's like any new software, Lectora used to crash and you'd get so frustrated because you hadn't saved it in the last 5 minutes like you're supposed to. But no, it's been very stable. I started using Lectora as either version 1 or 2.
Okay.
I had been at an e-learning conference. We were using Authorware, and it was too complicated for some people that worked for me, and we used other software that was too simplistic for the client. So my whole goal was to find something new, and we found Lectora and signed up with them, and been using it ever since. So that's been quite a while.
Yeah, and one of the things I really always admired about what John did with Lectora, he makes complicated things pretty easy.
That's right, yes.
Even getting into variables. And I have a programming background, so to me, nothing of this is that hard, because I've lived as a programmer. I enjoy the way John does things, because you could see that kind of programming bent, and yet he makes it very accessible. And that's one of the reasons it's been one of our favorites. The way you do actions are easy. They're easy, and the way you can do grouped actions, that just makes life, you can get pretty complex without having to really be a programmer. Just need a little bit of logic and some tenacity, and you can do anything with this.
And I'm not a programmer, so I've really appreciated what Lectora has done. And I noticed just the other day that in their can't think of what it's called, but their extra parts and pieces where you go in and you can put a button in.
Yes.
So if you put one of their buttons in, it already has the action attached to it, which maybe that's not what you need, but for a lot of people, especially new people, it's there, and you don't have to think about, now, how do I make that button work? You just have to point it to something.
Right. And that's true, because every button in Lectora needs some sort of action to do something.
Right.
But it's so easy to just do a drop down, click on what you want, you're done.
That's right. Yeah, it's very good, I think.
And of course, they implied the concepts of inheritance right away, which is something that also most people aren't used to seeing. They make it pretty easy. You don't have to think about an object. An object inherits properties, and that's all it is. And if you're in the title area, all of that gets inherited by all the chapters, and it's pretty straightforward the way they did that. And once you show people how it works, they go, oh, that's not that hard. No, because immediately you think inheritance, they go, who died? No, nobody died.
Right. I never thought of it that way. I've inherited a lot.
I've inherited a lot. Hey, thanks, John. But no, it's been a good tool. We use it for most of our whenever we have something complex to do, it's always the tool we use. We've used it on a lot of conversions where people have Flash and say, we want to convert that. Okay. And it doesn't do everything Flash does, but it's easy to convert and take a lot of those Flash components and reuse them if you can. And we found it's a good Flash converter. And it does a pretty good job. It doesn't have all the animations we need, but we can get around that. But the logic's there, and the navigation is really there. I've never really had an issue navigating with Lectora, as I've had with some of the other tools, where things kind of get lost on timelines or not quite the way you want it to work. And I know you and I talked that we both have worked with Captivate, and it does things its way. And you just have to kind of adapt to it. It doesn't adapt to you. You kind of have to figure the workarounds and yeah, I don't really do a lot of workarounds with Lectora. It just kind of works.
Right.
So that's
and in the past, there were some workarounds, but all those have been straightened out, and it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
You're talking about Captivate. I've done a lot with Captivate, but I almost always have used Lectora as the wrapper.
Oh, interesting.
Lectora can be the opening screens and the navigation and the testing, and just stick Lectora in as a video in a screen. And I think it works a lot better than trying to create everything in Captivate.
Yeah, you know what? You make a really good point, and it's also more efficient. We've done that with some of the work we've done where we had to combine soft skills and simulation.
Right.
And the soft skills was all Lectora, and every so often we'd have pages that we would jump to because they were a little bit bigger because of the size of screens we had to capture.
Right.
And we would just call it up as a different chapter with a different resolution. It'd
Right.
run. We hit the return button. We're back to where we were. People
That's
didn't even know.
very easy.
Yeah,
It
they didn't
really
even,
works well.
and most people didn't realize we had left the authoring tool.
Right.
It was all in one tool. Well, we used to joke that Lectora is kind of the universal wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
It can hold anything. It really can, because most people also don't realize you can build a website with Lectora if you want to. It really generates HTML and HTML5 content.
Well, as a matter of fact, my whole website is done in Lectora.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Interesting. I was looking at that. I go, yeah, because your navigation's nice, clean, simple. It's easy to get around on your website. Can you show his website again? Yep. Let's show your website again. And you've got examples through most of your website of things you've done. So that's all Lectora.
Yep,
Yeah,
everything's
cool.
Lectora. I did of course, all the graphics in Photoshop, and then the videos in Premiere, and audio. I use the Audition thing. So I don't typically have used the things that come with Lectora. Now I do because it's Snagit and the eLearning brothers. But it used to be that it had an audio piece, and it had a
Yes, I remember that.
I didn't find those robust enough, so I would use something else on that part. But certainly was good enough if you weren't used to using something else.
That's true, but you're right. We use the same tools, the Audition, and pretty much the Creative Cloud suite.
Right.
It works okay. I mean, there's good and bad, and it's more than you need, but it's there.
Correct.
We use Premiere a little bit. I've actually was a Sony Vegas guy for a long time, and
I use that too.
I used to hate Premiere. I mean, really abhorred it. Now I only mildly despise it, so I've actually gotten a lot better. It's gotten better. It actually has improved quite a bit. And the Mercury render engine in Premiere is just awesome. It's so clear. But we started using now a new product from Sony, which is Sony Catalyst Production Suite.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
It's kind of cool. It runs on a Mac and a PC. Not that we use a lot
that's
of Mac.
nice.
We've got several Macs, but mostly we're using PCs.
Mm-hmm.
It runs really nice. It's got a really cool modern interface, but it's readable, unlike some interfaces.
Right.
It does great color correction. It's not a bad tool, and it's becoming a full-fledged. The rumor is it's going to take over Vegas, and it'll be the main video editing. I could see.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's starting to get a lot of the same features. So I think maybe in a year it'll probably replace. That's my theory. It would make sense because the Vegas engine's gotten old. I think they need It still looks like Windows. What is it? NT from back when. It's looking old.
Yeah. And I haven't used it in several years. Once I learned how to use Premiere, I put Vegas away because it didn't. I just thought I had a much cleaner product when it was done. The coloring was better, and it was easier to edit for me.
And the output was better.
Yes.
I noticed it was cleaner. That's where Vegas was great. Like I said, for 10 years I used it from about 2003 on, and it was good. But I think I got to the point it just wasn't doing it for us anymore. And it's kind of a shame because they were so far ahead of everybody else, and then they lost it.
Right.
It's just people eventually caught
you
up.
mentioned those videos that I had done for the Max Insurance, and where I was playing the dumb person, and and I had somebody correcting me the whole time.
Yeah.
But those were all done in Sony Vegas.
Oh, were they? Okay.
The first one, some of the later ones I did in Premiere, but yeah, the basic ones were Sony Vegas, and because it was cheap, easy, and I had it.
Yep, and it worked, really well. That was, it's amazing how many people in eLearning used to use Vegas, and even the indie film people, they use Vegas a lot, and it's been a good tool. And Audition, I love Audition for audio recording. I don't like editing in it. I think the editing is slow in Audition because you can't do markers. So what we do is we use Sony SoundForge. I think it's SoundForge 10 or 12 or whatever number they're on. We use Sony SoundForge for the editing because it is super fast to do e-learning editing or narration editing in Sony, but we record in Audition because the Audition recording is just so much cleaner. and
Right.
and you can set up your chain of effects if you want, or anything else. It does a really nice job on that. And it does real good, though Sony does a pretty good job of the spectral analysis and cleaning, where you can actually take out little pieces of noise that you didn't want in there.
Right.
But I love Audition for recording, and I just hope Adobe doesn't mess it up, because they have been kind of messing some things up a little bit.
They
So-
they have a tendency to
They
do
have a
that.
tendency. So
Yes.
hopefully, fingers crossed, Audition stays clean. And but Sony SoundForge is our go-to for editing, because you can do markers. You can create a marker that creates a region. Then you convert all of those regions into files automatically. So
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So what we
Okay.
do is when you edit, we can almost edit an hour of audio in an hour. Sometimes it takes a little longer depending on how many retakes people do. But because we're just regioning and we're never deleting anything other than the stuff in the middle that's bad. Everything
Right.
else we're just leaving region. And then we hit there's a macro that just says convert regions to files. And now we have the file in whatever format we want. Usually we do the AVIs first, and then we do a batch convert of that
Right.
later on, or bring in what am I saying, AVIs? WAV files.
WAV files,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry, I'm getting my audio and video mixed up. But
I was with you.
yeah, and it just does an easy job. Then we import it all in pretty quickly, and even in you can import into the library or import into just each individual object or slide. It does a great job. It's easy.
Right.
Yeah, well, I love easy. I like things that don't make you have to do repetitive, mundane tasks more than we need to.
Well, that's probably why we both like Lectora, because
Yeah.
it is easy enough for new people, but you can do some complicated things if you need to.
That's true. That's true. And in
If
fact,
you need to-
John's giving a talk. He's giving a one-day pre-conference seminar. My wife's going to that one. She's the code geek.
Okay.
It's how to use the Lectora API and scripting, which looks interesting because it's going to get all into there's a whole API in Lectora most people never touch, and I don't really
Yeah,
touch it
I
that
don't.
often. She does occasionally, and she likes getting into that. But it shows you he'll show you how to tie into your JavaScript, the whole API, how to do things with the API to make Lectora more powerful. It's pretty cool what they've done. So in essence, you have this whole open architecture that they snuck in there that you can do more with. You can extend Lectora into, especially if you're doing web development or other things, into other venues that beyond e-learning, which I think is pretty cool. Now, on your website, it says you do things like marketing. You do a lot of graphic design, and I saw your stuff. You have a nice touch on. So, are you a trained graphic artist, or did you just pick it up on your own? Because you have a nice
Well,
touch.
my degree is in commercial art with
okay.
minor in graphic arts.
Got
Of
it.
course, that was 100 years ago, and things are a little bit different in graphic arts. And I don't even know if people call it commercial art anymore, but graphic arts certainly. I was doing paste up and layout with rubber cement and wax, so
Yeah.
that's totally different. But I still do it occasionally. Somebody needs a brochure made, or any kind of a print piece. I do some heavy duty stuff in InDesign for it's an automotive concours they have in Kansas City, and it's all volunteer work, but they figured out I could do the print stuff, so now I'm doing their program and their website. So anyway, I've always been artistic, and I've done logos and newsletters and just all kinds of stuff.
I imagine you do a lot of the art in your own pieces.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the website, everything that I've created, and most
Yeah.
of that's in Photoshop, and I do a lot of just playing in Photoshop. I take a lot of pictures, probably too many of cars, as you can
Cars.
see behind my head.
Uh-huh.
There's a few cars.
So you like cars?
I love cars.
Yeah.
So-
any specific brands or years?
No, I mean, I just like everything. I've had a lot of cars, and I like Porsches a lot. So,
Okay.
but a lot of people like Porsches, except my wife doesn't care for them.
Yeah, mine doesn't either. I used to say, I want to get a Porsche. She'd go, no. Why not? No. Well, why not? And then my insurance agent would kick in and go, get anything you want, but don't get a Porsche. I go, well, why? I guess
Really?
they cost too much. When they get into an accident, it's expensive.
I don't know. I mean, I've got an old one, and my insurance is pretty cheap. It's like,
Yeah. Well, you're not in LA though.
well, that's probably right. That's
20
probably makes a
million
lot of
people.
difference.
Yeah, 20 million people who don't know how to drive.
Right.
It's scary.
Yes. Yes.
Two drops of rain fall down here, it's over. It's just, we're dead.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
that's interesting.
of course, we have to deal with snow and heat and rain and everything else, so we're used to it.
That's true. You know, it's kind of interesting. This morning on the way to work, I was talking with my wife about one thing I like about where we live is we get trains, planes, cars, and occasionally you'll even get something else. But trains, I just love trains, planes. I like anything transportation.
Right.
It's sort of funny. It's don't know why, just always did. I could literally spend hours watching trains when I was younger. We'd sit and go to a train station in different places where I grew up, and just watch trains.
Yeah.
It was fun. Kept me out of trouble. What is he doing? He's watching trains. Leave him alone. He's quiet.
Yeah. It's one of those special children. That
Why is he
has to watch
talking
the
so
trains.
much? Well, he's not watching trains right now. Get him back in front of a train.
Right.
So, yeah, those are the good old days. But I still like that. You can still, I'll watch trains go by. Go, ooh, look at that train. That was nice.
Yeah.
I think it's things that stick with us. And my dad worked with the airlines, so every chance I got, I used to go down to the airport, get on the planes, go look at the cockpits. It was fun. Now you can't do that, but back then you could.
No.
It was fun. I remember riding side saddle with a 747 pilot as we were flying into Lima, Peru. He happened to be a friend of my dad's, and they called me into the cockpit. And I just sat with him as we're approaching, and then when we got too close, he said, "Okay, you're gonna have to go back now." But I was watching the landmass radar as we're going in, and it was so cool. I think I was about 16 at the time. I was just, that kept me quiet for months. It's like, wow, that was great. So,
Yeah. It's changed so much, and it's too bad. But when I was a kid, my dad, we had a convertible, and he'd take us to the Kansas City airport, and we'd park at the end of the runway and watch the planes land and take off. And
yeah.
of course, duck because we thought they were going to hit us, but
But I always have a joke. What's not a joke? It's actually a true story. There's a parking lot C near LAX, and it's right at the end, at the beginning of the runway, at the end of the runway, as they come in. And literally, when you get out of your car, depending where you park, you look up, and it's probably less than 100 feet over you.
wow.
And so you got a 747, which is pretty much, or an Airbus, something or other, 380, I think. And when they come over you, you think you're going to get hit. And I remember we got out of the car. My wife looks up, and there's this big Japan Airlines 747 literally coming at us. And she goes running. Just takes off. And I'm just looking at her going, well, every person for themselves at this point, huh?
Right.
She's gone. She's like, runs. I go, I have news for you. Your legs are too short to get that far. That wingspan is further than you ever got. And went over us, and then she's still running, and then realized it was gone. It was actually a hilarious moment. Totally freaked her out. But
I
literally,
bet she appreciates you telling that story too.
oh, I'm sure she will. Yeah, thank God she doesn't watch the show often. So
That's good. You might be in trouble.
I've told that story to many people, but it's just funny because it's like, run, and she screamed, run, and just goes. It's like,
That's great.
by the time he's not going to come straight down, he's over us already. He'll crash over there. Trust me, you'll be fine.
Right. Right.
But it is amazing when you watch those big birds, literally less than probably 5 or 10 stories over you. And the minute they pass you, they're probably another several hundred, maybe a football field away from actually touching down. So
Right.
they come down pretty quickly at that point, but it is an interesting experience. And we used to park directly where we knew they were going to be, just because it was fun.
Says you like scaring your wife.
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, it was well worth it. That was the only time she ever got scared. After that, I think she was embarrassed and never did it again. But but it is amazing. And I wanted to go with a camera one of these days and do that, but I'm not sure if they'll arrest you now. They may.
Well, that they might. I don't know.
They might. Yeah, we have to be careful because you can't take pictures everywhere in certain areas. And at the end of a runway, they may think my camera's a gun or something. And Which would be, because that would make some beautiful shots. I may try it anyway. I can look stupid and go, I didn't know, sir.
I guess you'll find out if you can or can't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a plain landing, but yeah, when we were
Do
kids,
do
we
your
could
next
that.
show from jail.
That would be fun. Yeah. Can I bring my streaming equipment in, officer?
Right.
But anyway, so you're going to be going to the Lectora Users Conference
Yes.
this year too.
I am.
That'll be good. Are you presenting or just attending?
No, I'm just attending.
You'll have a good time. From what I heard, it's a really good show. I know people who've gone for the last 10 years, and they always say, why don't you go? It's a good show. It's fun. And it always happened to hit when I was either too busy or just not able to go. And this year I said, no matter what, I'm going. I have to go. It's kind of a requirement, I guess. I wanted to get there. And we are. And it's a nice place. I was saying, like, Fort Lauderdale sounds beautiful. I've never been there.
You know, I haven't either. I've been to a lot of places in Florida, and
Yeah.
and if I was in Fort Lauderdale, it was only the airport, and that doesn't count. So
Okay, right.
no, I'm looking forward to it. One they did in, I guess it was Cincinnati or Cleveland or
Yeah,
someplace.
I think it was
but
Cincinnati. They did in the corporate. They did one near the corporate.
yeah, but the hotels were out away from everything,
Mm.
and so if you did anything, you had to get on a bus with, 50 other people, which is fine, but you
Yeah.
couldn't just leave your hotel and go walk around.
Right, right.
And so I think this one will be really good.
Yeah, I think it's right on the beach too. It looked like it
Right.
was on the beach, so that should be
Yes.
beautiful. Knowing John, we can actually do one of those seminars on the beach. He'd probably have a good time with that. Get his wireless
would.
going, and I think he surfs. So
Does he?
yeah, I've never surfed, but I think he surfs. In fact, they have a surf. Remember they used to give out those surfboards?
Yes, I have one.
I have one of those somewhere. The little USB drives that were surfboards. They were really
Yes.
cute. And he has a full-size surfboard of that.
Oh, is that right?
He's got his Lectora
Okay.
surfboard, so or Trivantis surfboard. That should be cool.
And I use I meant to have it with me, and I forgot to. It's in the other room, but my Lectora coffee mug.
Okay.
Did you remember they used to send those out when
Yeah.
they would send the lunchbox with your software?
Yep. And I remember. I'm trying to remember the mug. I think Leslie my wife may have kept the mug. So because I don't remember seeing. I
Well,
vaguely
it
recall
was a
seeing the mug.
tall coffee cup type
Yep.
thing.
Oh
So-
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking of it's not a porcelain mug. It was one of the bigger mugs,
right.
like
Yeah,
the
it's one
travel
silver, had
mugs, right?
Lectora on it. And
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. They were the travel mugs. I think you put them in a car and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're nice. I use
Yeah.
it all the time.
She used those. She kept hers. I don't think I ever got one. Certain things she keeps. It's like, I embarrass her about the stories, and she keeps all the good stuff. So I think she wins in the long run.
I think it works. Yeah, it works.
It does work. If you had to think of any of the new features in Lectora, what would one of your favorites be?
Well, I think starting with version 12, the way that Lectora is doing actions. I mean, it's very simple. They have pictures. You can look at it. When they
Yeah.
first went to that interface, I was so used to the old interface that I thought, why'd they change this?
know.
But now I think it's great, and especially the actions, because it's just so easy to figure out.
Yeah, in fact, I was wondering, how are they going to handle actions? And I was very pleasantly surprised that the way they did their drop downs and the way he organized it, it was easy.
Right.
I was really afraid, it's going to get ugly. It's going to be click, 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 click 1,000 times. No, they actually came out with a very good approach.
They did,
to making it, I'd say, fairly seamless. And it's not like we lost any functionality either. It's still there.
Right.
I thought that was actually pretty good. A couple of things changed with the way they did their backgrounds. I was used to one way, and I was going, wait a minute, it's not the same anymore. It's a little bit different. And now you can use your background wizard and import a background into it, and that's a really quick way to get it into your title area versus having to drag them in. So it's a little bit different, the way you can handle it, like from what they used to do. But I find those things actually improvements, that they did a good job with them. I'd like to see better text handling in Lectora, like wraparounds and some other things that work better.
I would too.
But
right.
other than that, I think as a product, it's good. It's solid, and it's got a lot of functionality and features. I keep begging him for more transitions. It's like, come on, John, just one more. He goes, I already gave you a fade. Oh, come on, just one more fade. How about now a slide fade? He's like, oh gosh, all right. So he's writing it down, like a slide fade. So I'm hoping we get a slide fade really soon, because they have some slide transitions, but they don't have a lot. There's only like 4 or 5 of them, I think.
Right.
Love to see it more PowerPointy with all the cool transitions and slides and effects. I know you don't need it, but just want it.
I'm pretty impressed with the responsive design.
Yeah.
I have converted a few pieces, my website number one, and it hasn't worked. I mean, there's something in my site that is making that not work. So my plan is just to recreate it from scratch. I have all the assets, so it's a matter of recreating it in Lectora 16 to make sure that it's correct. But if you're starting a new one with responsive design, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but even with the old one, I think it all has to do with folding onto itself.
Right.
And it's just getting the components right where you can do a cut like in the middle of them or something, and then it folds on and everything works. Maybe the menu might be a tricky part, where the menu goes across too far. There's probably a different way to wrap the menu. I'm not sure how they would do that yet.
Basically, yeah, and that was one of the problems I had. And then finally, I don't remember if I talked to somebody or they talked about it. We talked about it in one of those advisory board meetings, but you can pull something off the stage that you're not going to use,
right,
and then put another one in. So in most responsive designs, the buttons are really big, and so what I started doing was just making a new menu for the iPhone or the phone size that would be totally different from the one when you're getting to the desktop size.
Yeah, so you just replace them when you go to that
Right.
format. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I think they're the most innovative I've seen so far of all the e-learning tools that even handle responsive design. Most of them don't handle it too well, or they handle it kind of. You basically just relay it out. But this is pretty clever. They took some more advanced coding to make that happen. I think they did a really good job with it.
No, I do too. I've used some responsive design and some websites that more of one of the sites I'm doing for somebody, they started it in GoDaddy and they're design a website tonight or whatever it's called, their website designer. And it does responsive design very well, although you don't really have any control over it.
Right.
And it works fast, but yeah, I like the way Lectora. I mean, you have total control over what that's going to look like when you change devices. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
They did an excellent job on that. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they win some awards on that one, because it's very clever the way they approach it, and especially for e-learning, which doesn't really have that flexibility usually.
Right.
Now,
Right.
John, are you going to be talking at any event pretty soon? Any trade shows? Anything else? Anywhere people can get a hold of you?
No, not that I have anything coming up. Just the Lectora thing, but I'd love to talk to anybody that wants to seek me out at the Lectora conference, and
Cool.
of course they can buy me a drink, and then they can talk to me. No, don't you think that's a good plan?
And if it is a good plan, and if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably the easiest way, if I have my corporate, the hdynamics.com, and my email is bdinkins@hdynamics.com. However, another email address I have that goes right to the same place is bob@dinkins.com.
Okay.
So if you can remember my name, you can probably figure out the email, bob@dinkins.com.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at names, so that for me that would be a good help. I remember people, but I don't remember names. I can remember their phone number, but I don't remember their name. Go figure. It's like, oh, hello, 388-6796.
That's sad, Rick.
It is sad. It's an illness. I don't know what it is. It has something to do with watching trains too much. I don't know. Maybe.
It probably is. Spent too much time at the airport with those planes crashing
Maybe
on
too many fumes.
Right.
Jet fuel is bad for you. Anyway, well, Bob, it's been a pleasure getting to meet you again. I know we've met somewhere. I keep going.
Yeah,
I know
it
you from
does
somewhere.
seem like that.
We
Yeah.
may have met at a show or something briefly, and I recognize your voice. I was going, oh man, I know we've met. I'm trying to figure out exactly where.
Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll get together in Fort Lauderdale.
And then it
We can
kicks. Then it kicks.
spend some time and figure that out.
Yep. But I really appreciate you coming on. We hope to have you on again another time. And
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
And good luck with all the stuff you're doing and the videos. And I'll be giving you a call soon, too, because I have some ideas of ways that we might be able to work together. So that might be fun.
That would be great. That's basically what I do. I'm a contractor, so I'm available.
Yeah, it sounds great. And then Bob will be at the Lectora Users Conference 2016 in Fort Lauderdale. I forgot what date it's. It's mid-May sometime, or mid to end of May.
May the 18th, I want to say, 17th or 18th.
Somewhere around there. It's on a Tuesday, Wednesday. It's on a Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday, right.
But there is a pre-conference, I think, on Tuesday. So
right.
We're going to try
I'm not going to any of the pre-conference things, but I'll be there for the main thing, and I'll get in sometime that first night, which they usually have a cocktail party or something. They used to
some sort of reception, right?
Right.
Yep. Yeah, we're actually arriving on Sunday only to just get a little bit of R&R before, and
that's nice.
And we're leaving on the following Saturday morning, get another extra day. It's like just a mini vacation. We never take vacations. We're always busy. You know what it's like when you contract and work.
Yes.
You work a lot, and so vacations don't come when you want them half the time. So this will be like a little teeny weeny, we call them business trip vacation. So it'll be fun to get out there. You'll meet some of the people that are new there too. Some wonderful people. Laurie Lynn Todd is the new CEO. She's wonderful, really nice to work with. And if you haven't met Scott Barnett yet, he is their VP of Marketing. I love Scott, and Scott lives real close to us. Actually, he's not too far. He comes down for lunch every so often, and he's done a couple shows in studio, and he's been fun. The guy's brilliant. He's really a good asset, and a whole mess of other new people that they've got. And there's a new addition to the lineup over there at Trivantis. Laura Silver, VP of Product Management, just had her baby.
Oh, well, good.
So Benjamin Silver, healthy. She's healthy, and she'll be back in, I think, June into the fray. But Laura's great. She's done a great. Well, she hosted all of those LUC, not LUC, but the Lectora Advisory Board meetings. She's wonderful, really good person. Got to see her live in New York about a month before she had the baby. We were there for a business trip and went into New York to see her and had lunch with her, and it was great seeing her. And she was very pregnant at the time. She was ready to go. So everybody was happy and good. New addition to the family.
I get to Northern California all the time because my son and grandkids live there, but Santa Rosa, north of San Francisco.
Yeah. It's nice up there.
But occasionally I get south, and in fact, I was there last May.
Okay.
If I'd known you then, I'd stop by to see you. Because we drove, and we
time
drove
you're
all
out, please
up the
do.
coast. And
Yeah, I may be in Kansas one of these days. Are you far from Miriam?
Oh, real close to Miriam.
Okay, because we work with Synchrony Financial. They have a big call center there. And we know some of the people. I think we're going to do a little tour either this year or next year where we just visit a lot of the different sites, because we work with people from all over their company.
Right.
And it's always fun to put faces to the voices that we see, and they just have a lot of nice people. And I know Miriam is one of their big call centers, so we know quite a few people out there. And then in Kettering, not too far away on the other side in Ohio, we work with people out there too. So we may visit Trivantis in Cincinnati and then just drive up to Kettering. Everything's not that far, really. 3 hours here, 3 hours there. So we're going to do a little road show.
I think that'd be great. Well, make sure you let me know when
I will.
Get to Kansas, and we'll get together for dinner or something.
That sounds great. I want to meet Toto. You got to introduce me
to
Toto.
Yeah, Toto lives down the street from me.
Then I can say for once in my life, I'm in Kansas, Toto.
Right.
Hey, Bob, a real pleasure meeting you. We look forward to seeing you next month at the Users Conference. And we will, in the show notes, we'll post how people can get a hold of you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
For all of you people watching the show, please subscribe, give us your feedback, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot, and we will see you soon on Lectora Live. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks,
you.
Bob.